Coco Gauff recently revealed something that no one was meant to see. Tommy Paul and Alex Eala had a private time, captured on live TV and shown to millions of people. What began as a harmless post-match conversation became one of tennis's most talked-about scandals. The mics were live, the cameras were rolling, and Coco's response ignited a fire that spread over social media in a matter of minutes. Some refer to it as drama, while others term it betrayal. However, the reality is significantly more nuanced than anyone could have predicted. Knowing the players involved is essential to comprehending why this event rocked the tennis world. There is more to this than just three random sportsmen. Three of the most significant young voices in tennis today are discussed here. Each has a sizable fan base, pressures, and secrets of their own. Aya Alex. Although casual fans may not recognize the name, she is considered royalty in the Philippines. She became the first Filipino woman to win a junior Grand Slam title at the age of just 20. In 2022, she won the US Open girls singles title. Since then, she has been rising through the professional ranks with an unstoppable hunger. Aya is more than just herself. She is the hope of a whole country. Millions of Filipinos watch every game she plays. The nation celebrates each of her victories as if it were their own. Despite the tremendous load on her shoulders, she manages it with poise and an unwavering smile. Tommy Paul, the Golden Kid of America, comes next. He is the player who has always been on the verge of greatness but hasn't fully grasped it until lately. Ranked inside the top 20, Paul has the game, the looks, and the charisma that makes him a fan favorite. He is renowned for his strong baseline play, composed on-court manner, and remarkably discreet personal life. Paul maintains his friendships and relationships private, in contrast to many athletes his age. He rarely shares details of his private life on social media. He lets his racket speak for itself. However, when the cameras captured something he never wanted the world to see, that privacy became a problem. The superstar and voice of a generation, Coco G, is another. Coco, who is only 20 years old, has already established a platform that goes well beyond the court, won a Grand Slam singles championship, and become the face of American tennis. She advocates for equality, speaks out on social issues, and has millions of fans who pay close attention to what she says. Coco is bold, genuine, and unreservedly herself. However, there is a risk associated with such genuineness. Sometimes you divulge things you didn't mean to when you speak your mind and respond honestly. And on that fateful night, Coco's candor revealed a secret that no one anticipated. The most unexpected collision of these three lives was about to occur. For weeks, a moment lasting less than 30 seconds would dominate headlines. In a time when everything is recorded, it would cause controversy, split fan bases, and bring up issues of loyalty, privacy, and what it means to be friends. The scene was prepared. The players were positioned. One live broadcast was all that was required. The whole tennis world will never look at them the same way after one careless moment. However, what really transpired and why did it flare up so quickly? It was meant to be a festive occasion. A post-event interview session was held with a number of players who had recently finished the competition. These meetings are typically informal, with participants unwinding after the intense competition, laughing and responding to light-hearted inquiries. YouTube and social media platforms simultaneously streamed the live broadcast on Tennis Channel. In real time, thousands of people were watching. Nobody anticipated what was about to happen. In the middle of the interview, Coco Gauff discussed her plans for the next season and her current performance. She was full of energy, laughing, and relaxed. Coco's expression brightened as the interviewer asked her about the friendship among the younger players on tour. She began discussing their friendships, group conversations, and the network of support they had all established. It was healthy. It was sincere. Then, without warning, she said something that completely altered the situation. "Yeah, we all support each other," Coco smiled. "Like I was just talking to Alex earlier and she was telling me about her and Tommy's little moment backstage before the finals. I was like, girl, you best be careful, the cameras are everywhere." The words hung in the air for a split second. The interviewer's smile froze. Coco's eyes widened slightly as if she just realized what she'd said, but it was too late. The damage was done. The confession was out there, live, unedited, irreversible. The camera quickly cut to a wide shot, but the audio kept rolling. You could hear nervous laughter from someone off-screen. The interviewer scrambled to move on to the next question, but the moment had already been captured, clipped, screenshotted, shared. Within minutes, the clip was everywhere. Twitter exploded. Instagram erupted. TikTok went into overdrive. Alex Eala and Tommy Paul. Did Coco just expose them? What moment is she talking about? Are they dating? Was it romantic? Was it a secret relationship that Coco accidentally revealed? Or was it something else entirely? Something innocent that got twisted by speculation and assumptions. Tommy Paul, for his part, stayed completely silent. He didn't do his scheduled media appearance. His team released a brief statement saying he was unavailable for comment. That silence only fueled the fire. If it was nothing, why wasn't he denying it? If it was innocent, why the secrecy? And Coco, she posted a cryptic Instagram story later that night. Just 3 words. Words matter always. No explanation, no apology, no clarification. Just those 3 words and a photo of her staring off into the distance. The tennis world was in chaos and the explosion was only just beginning. The internet doesn't forget, and it definitely doesn't forgive. If you weren't on social media that night, you missed a war. Not a polite disagreement, not a casual debate, an all-out, no-holds-barred internet war that split the tennis community right down the middle. Within an hour of Coco's interview going viral, the #AshaPaulgate was trending worldwide. Not just in tennis circles, worldwide. Fans, journalists, casual observers, even people who'd never watched a tennis match in their lives were weighing in. Everyone had an opinion. Everyone had a theory, and nobody was holding back. Alex Eala's Filipino fans were furious. They flooded Coco's comments with accusations of betrayal, jealousy, and disrespect. You call yourself a friend and then expose her like that? With over 15,000 likes, one commenter said, "You betrayed Alex's trust on live television. Disgusting." Another account posted a thread breaking down every interaction between Coco and Alex over the past year, analyzing body language, searching for signs of hidden tension. The narrative quickly formed. Coco was jealous of Alex's rising star power and intentionally sabotaged her. But Coco's fans weren't backing down. They fired back just as hard. Coco didn't expose anything. Alex is the one acting guilty. One tweet argued, if there was nothing to hide, why did she panic? What made her flee the press conference? Another popular post suggested that Alex was using the situation for attention, playing the victim to gain sympathy and followers. The attacks were personal, brutal, and relentless. Then there was Tommy Paul's fan base, a quieter group but just as invested. They were divided. Some defended him, insisting he had every right to privacy and that whatever happened backstage was nobody's business. Others were disappointed, feeling betrayed that their favorite player might be involved in drama that distracted from his tennis. A few fans even started shipping Alex and Tommy, creating fan art, editing videos of them together at tournaments, romanticizing a relationship that might not even exist. The media poured gasoline on the fire. Sports outlets published think pieces with headlines like, "Did Coco Gauff cross the line?" And the privacy of Alex Eala was compromised. Who is at fault? Tennis podcasts dedicated entire episodes to dissecting the incident frame by frame. Body language experts were brought in to analyze Alex's press conference reaction. Relationship counselors were interviewed about trust and boundaries and friendships. It was madness. Fan pages started leak campaigns, digging up old photos of Alex and Tommy at the same tournaments, sitting near each other at player parties, warm-up sessions where they were spotted talking. Every interaction, no matter how innocent, was reframed as evidence of a secret romance. They've been hiding this for months, one viral TikTok claimed, showing a montage of clips set to dramatic music. The video got 3 million views in 12 hours, but beneath all the chaos, beneath the memes and the outrage and the speculation, there was a darker current. People were picking sides not based on facts, but based on loyalty. Nationality played a role. Filipinos versus Americans. Race became a subtext that nobody wanted to address directly, but everyone could feel. And underneath it all was a question that nobody was asking out loud. Why do we feel entitled to know everything about these players' private lives? The explosion wasn't just about tennis. It was about celebrity, privacy, and the impossible standards we place on young athletes who are still figuring out who they are. And the worst part, none of the 3 players had actually explained what really happened. 48 hours after the incident, the silence was deafening. In an era where athletes live on social media, where every thought is tweeted and every moment is storied, the complete radio silence from all 3 players felt almost unnatural. But that silence wasn't peaceful. It was tense, loaded, like the calm before an even bigger storm. Coco Gauff's team was the first to move. Her management released a carefully worded statement through her official Instagram account. It read, "Coco values her friendships deeply and would never intentionally cause harm or discomfort to anyone. She has reached out privately to those involved and hopes to resolve any misunderstandings with grace and maturity." She asked that fans respect everyone's privacy during this time. The statement was professional, diplomatic, but it solved nothing. If anything, it raised more questions those involved. Why not name Alex and Tommy directly? Misunderstandings. So she was admitting something happened, and most frustratingly, no actual explanation of what she'd meant during that interview. The statement felt like damage control, not accountability. Alex Eala's response came 6 hours later, and it was even more cryptic. She posted a photo on Instagram of herself practicing alone on an empty court at sunset. The caption was a single sentence: "Focus on what you can control." No tags, no mention of Coco or Tommy, no acknowledgement of the chaos swirling around her name. But the comment section was a battlefield. Supportive messages mixed with invasive questions. "Just tell us what happened. You deserve better than this. Stop hiding and speak up." Her team also issued a statement to Filipino media outlets which felt significant. They chose to speak to her home audience first, a calculated move that showed where her priorities lay. The statement emphasized that Alex was focused on her tennis, that her personal life was private, and that she wouldn't be addressing rumors or speculation. It ended with a plea. "We ask that fans and media allow Alex to compete without distraction and respect her boundaries as a young woman navigating a demanding career." The use of young woman was deliberate. It was a reminder that Alex was barely an adult, thrust into a spotlight she never asked for, and now being dissected by millions of strangers who felt entitled to her private moments. Tommy Paul, however, stayed completely dark. No statement, no social media posts. His accounts went quiet. His team declined all interview requests. His next tournament appearance was still a week away, and there was growing speculation that he might withdraw to avoid the media circus. Some saw his silence as strategic, let the story die down without adding fuel. Others saw it as cowardly, hiding while two women dealt with the public backlash of a situation he was part of. Behind the scenes, though, things were moving. Sources close to the players, anonymous of course, started leaking information to reporters. One insider claimed that Coco had called Alex personally to apologize and that Alex had hung up on her. Another source said Tommy and Alex had been casually dating for a few weeks and wanted to keep it private until they figured out if it was serious. A third source insisted the whole thing was blown out of proportion, that the moment Coco referenced was just Tommy giving Alex a pep talk before her match. Nothing romantic at all. Every leak contradicted the last. Every rumor spawned 3 more. And with no official confirmation from any of the players, the public was left to choose which story they wanted to believe. Sponsors were watching closely. Alex had endorsement deals with major Filipino brands, and they were nervous about the controversy affecting her image. Coco sponsors, multinational corporations with carefully crafted brand identities, were reportedly frustrated by the lack of clarity. Tommy's team was fielding questions about whether this would impact his upcoming partnerships. The WTA remained silent, offering no official comment. Technically, this was a personal matter, not a professional violation, but the optics were terrible. 3 of the tour's rising stars embroiled in a scandal that had nothing to do with tennis and everything to do with the invasive nature of modern fame. And then, just when it seemed like the story might start to fade, someone leaked a photo. A backstage photo from the tournament timestamped just an hour before Coco's infamous interview. In the photo, Alex and Tommy were sitting together close, laughing. His hand was on her shoulder. It was innocent. It was friendly. But to the internet, it was proof. The photo went viral in minutes. And just like that, the fire was raging again. The truth was out there somewhere, but nobody seemed interested in finding it. They just wanted the drama. 10 days after the incident, the truth finally emerged. Not through a press conference, not through an official statement, but through a long-form interview that Alex Eala gave to a respected Filipino sports journalist, someone she'd known since her junior days, someone she trusted. In the interview, Alex explained everything, and it wasn't what anyone expected. She stated, "Tommy and I are friends," in a steady albeit weary voice. "Good friends. We've known each other for years through the junior circuit. And when we both started playing more on the main tour, we reconnected. Before my finals match, I was incredibly nervous. It was one of the biggest matches of my career, and I was spiraling a bit. Tommy found me backstage, and he could tell I was panicking. So he sat with me, he talked me through it. He reminded me of all the work I'd put in, all the reasons I deserved to be there. He gave me a pep talk, that's it. That's the moment Coco was talking about." She paused, and you could see the exhaustion in her eyes, the weight of carrying the secret, of being forced to explain something so personal to the entire world. "I told Coco about it later because she's my friend and I was grateful. I was sharing a nice memory with someone I trusted. I never thought she'd mention it publicly, and I definitely never thought it would turn into this." The interviewer asked the question everyone wanted answered. Were she and Tommy dating? Alex laughed, but it was a sad laugh. "No, we're not. And honestly, even if we were, I don't understand why that would be anyone's business. But since everyone seems to need an answer, no, we're friends. That's all we've ever been. When asked about Coco, Alex's expression softened. I was hurt. I won't lie about that. When you share something personal with a friend and then hear it broadcasted to millions of people, it stings. But I also know Coco. I know she didn't mean to hurt me. She got caught up in the moment in the interview and she spoke without thinking. We've all done that. The difference is our mistakes happen on camera. She confirmed that she and Coco had spoken privately and were working through it. Friendships take effort and forgiveness. We're figuring it out. Tommy Paul finally broke his silence 2 days later with a simple Instagram post. It was a photo of him and Alex at a practice session, both smiling, both relaxed. The caption read, "Real ones know what real friendship looks like. I'm appreciative to everyone who support me both on and off the court. Now let's get back to tennis." Short, direct, no drama, just a quiet statement of solidarity. Coco responded in her own way. She posted a video on TikTok speaking directly to the camera. "I messed up," she said simply. "I shared something that wasn't mine to share and I hurt someone I care about. I've apologized privately, but I want to say it publicly too. I'm sorry, Alex. I'm learning that just because something is true doesn't mean it needs to be said, especially not on live TV. I'm growing. We all are." The video was raw, unpolished, genuine. It felt like the Coco that fans had fallen in love with, the one who admitted mistakes, who grew from them, who didn't hide behind PR speak. Slowly, the narrative began to shift. People started to realize that they'd been fed a scandal that didn't exist. There was no secret romance, no betrayal, no conspiracy, just a private moment between friends that got twisted, exaggerated, and weaponized by an audience hungry for drama. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Even with the real story out there, some people didn't want to let it go. They'd invested too much in their theories, their outrage, their chosen sides. Admitting they were wrong meant admitting they'd participated in tearing down 3 young athletes for no reason. The truth was simple, but simple doesn't get clicks. Simple doesn't trend, and that's the real problem. So what did we learn, and more importantly, did anything actually change? Months have passed since that chaotic week, and the tennis world has moved on to the next controversy, the next headline, the next scandal. But for Alex, Coco and Tommy, the impact of those 10 days lingers in ways the public will never fully see. Alex Eala's career didn't suffer. If anything, she gained fans. Her honesty in that interview, her refusal to play the victim while also setting clear boundaries, earned her respect. She's continued to climb the rankings, and her matches now draw bigger crowds, especially in the Philippines, where she's become even more of a national icon. But those close to her say she's more guarded now, more careful about what she shares and with whom. She still has friendships on tour, but there's a weariness that wasn't there before. A recognition that in this world, privacy is a luxury you have to fight for. Coco Gauff faced the most public criticism, but she handled it with maturity beyond her years. She used the experience as a teaching moment, speaking at events about the responsibility that comes with platform and influence. "I have millions of followers," she said in one interview, "and with that comes a responsibility to think before I speak, to protect the people I care about. I learned that the hard way." Her fans respected her for owning the mistake. Her friendship with Alex has reportedly healed, though it's different now, more cautious. There's a scar there that may never fully fade, but they've chosen to move forward. Tommy Paul returned to tennis quietly, letting his game do the talking. He had a strong finish to the season, reaching the quarterfinals of a Masters 1000 event and earning praise for his composure under pressure. When asked about the incident in interviews, he deflects gently but firmly. "That's in the past. I'm focused on my tennis." He's maintained his privacy, perhaps even more carefully now, and his friendship with Alex remains intact. They're often spotted warming up together at tournaments, proof that real relationships can survive public storms. But the bigger question is, what did this incident reveal about us? About the culture of celebrity, sports, and social media. It exposed how quickly we're willing to believe narratives without facts. How we turn athletes into characters and stories we create. Forgetting they're real people with real feelings. It showed how nationality, loyalty, and tribalism can turn a simple misunderstanding into a battleground. And it highlighted the impossible position young athletes are in. Expected to be authentic and relatable, but punished when that authenticity leads to human mistakes. The incident also sparked important conversations about boundaries. Should athletes have the right to keep their personal lives private, or does fame come with the requirement of transparency? Where's the line between public interest and invasive curiosity? And who gets to decide? Some changes have happened behind the scenes. Several players have reportedly become more careful in group settings, more aware that everything they say could be recorded, clipped, and shared. Media training has intensified. PR teams are more involved. In some ways, the spontaneity that made athletes relatable is being coached out of them, replaced by caution and calculation. Is that progress, or did we lose something valuable in the process? The three of them, Alex, Coco and Tommy, survived this. Their careers continued. Their friendships, while tested, endured. But thousands of other interactions on tour have probably been affected by this incident. Private conversations that don't happen anymore. Friendships that stay surface level because the risk of vulnerability is too high. Moments of genuine connection that are sacrificed on the altar of self-protection. And for what? So that strangers on the internet could feel entertained for a week. So that gossip sites could get clicks. So that we could all pick a side in a conflict that never really existed. The saddest part is that this will happen again. Maybe not to these three, but to someone else. Because we've created a culture where athletes are expected to be both completely open and perpetually perfect. Where one unguarded moment can define you. Where privacy is seen as suspicious and authenticity is a liability. Alex, Coco and Tommy have moved on. They've learned their lessons. They've grown, but have we? This story started with a single sentence spoken on live TV and spiraled into a full-blown scandal that dominated headlines, divided fan bases, and forced three young athletes to defend their private lives to millions of strangers. But when the dust settled, the truth was simple. A friend helped a friend. A comment was made without thinking. And the internet did what it does best. Created a story that was far more dramatic than reality. Alex Eala, Coco Gauff and Tommy Paul survived this moment. They're stronger for it, wiser for it and more careful because of it. But the real question isn't about them anymore, it's about us. It's about the culture we've created where every moment is content, where every relationship is scrutinized, and where athletes are expected to be perfect in ways we'd never demand of ourselves. So here's the question I'll leave you with. Was this drama necessary?